In the winter of 2009, my friends and I broke into an old hospital in Troy, New York. It had been abandoned for years. We scouted the place for weeks to prepare ourselves in case the police came. I was 21 at the time and my best friend Alex was 20. We had a fascination for urban exploring and would often venture into old abandoned places. The building has 4 floors. Most of the windows were broken, there was graffiti, and while you would think the place would harbor homeless people, it didn't because of how exposed it was. Most of the building was in an opening, so it was easy to be spotted if you weren't careful. Plus, the building has a reputation for being haunted, and most people in this area are superstitious. Even the hood kids stay out. So we decided to go one night after preparing ourselves with flashlights, bags, water, and cameras. We brought our friend Jay and my girlfriend came along as well. It was February. We parked in a residential neighborhood, taking one car, and we walked a mile down the road to avoid suspicion. We crawled under the perimeter fence and snuck in the shadows while the building loomed over us. There were no footprints anywhere in the snow but ours. It hadn't snowed for about a month, but it was still pretty cold. So as we walked in the building, we were met with a long hallway with an elevator at the end. There was a staircase to our left which we took up to the 2nd floor. It was eerie because nothing was out of place. It looked like they had just locked the place up. But the 2nd floor was different. It looked like a bomb went off. Moving together, we realized it was noticeably colder on the 2nd floor, and it was quiet. Unnervingly quiet. Strange as Troy is not a quiet city. We turned on our cameras and began asking the usual EVP questions. It was then that my girlfriend said she thought she saw someone downstairs. She also kept complaining about how cold it felt. We went back downstairs and checked it out, but there was no one down there. We then sat in an office for about 25 minutes talking about our exit plan, when we heard a loud thud coming from the elevator shaft. It sounded like the elevator had been switched on. It was eerie. Our research told us that there was no power in the place. Soon after that sound, we then heard the distinct sound of 3 sets of footsteps running from one end of the floor above to the other. We wasted no time as the footsteps began making their way down the stairs toward the floor we were on. We broke a window and we all jumped out. I went last just as the footsteps came racing down the hall. We all hid, just in case they followed us. We then heard muffled voices as the sounds of the footsteps went back up the stairs. We pressed ourselves tightly against the building, trying to stay out of sight. We ran into the shadows. It was then that my friend Alex noticed there were no other footprints in the snow but ours. We quickly left. We came back 2 weeks later determined to find out if it was homeless people that chased us out last time. This time we came armed. I had a bat and a Maglite, while Alex and Jay had knives and a BB gun that looked like a 9mm. The first 2 floors looked the same, so we made our way up to the 3rd floor. It was creepy. There was nothing up there. It was completely empty and open with holes in the walls. We also checked the elevators again and they definitely didn't work. We went up to the 4th floor and once again, it was completely empty like the 3rd. We went back down to the 1st floor, feeling reassured that there was probably someone hiding out there last time. But we couldn't get over how there were no other footprints in the snow but ours. As we left for home, I drove by the building once again. It was then that I saw 3 figures, all in different windows, on the 3rd floor. My skin crawled. We had checked that floor. It was completely empty and there was nowhere to hide. We've never returned there. And we never will.